For years, Sarah Ferguson has spoken warmly about her friendship with Princess Diana. In interviews, she often shared funny memories, personal stories, and moments that painted a picture of two women bound by a unique connection. They met when Sarah was 16 and Diana was just 14. They grew up together in many ways, long before either of them became global figures. Sarah has often described Diana as quick-witted, fun-loving, and impossible to forget. But according to royal biographer Andrew Loney, the real story behind that friendship may be far more complicated than most people realize. And that raises an interesting question. What if one of the most famous friendships in royal history wasn't quite what it seemed? According to Loney, the friendship between Sarah and Diana became one of the defining relationships of Sarah's life. If Sarah were ever to write another major memoir or sit down for a deeply revealing interview, Diana would almost certainly become a central part of that story. Their shared experiences, their struggles inside the royal family, and the challenges they faced under constant public scrutiny would naturally capture enormous attention. But there is one major complication. Loney argues that by the final years of Diana's life, the friendship had suffered a serious breakdown. If that's true, then everything we think we know about their relationship deserves a closer look. For decades, the public viewed Sarah and Diana as two women navigating the same difficult world together. They were often portrayed as allies, friends who understood each other's struggles better than anyone else could. Sarah frequently shared stories that reinforced that image, recalling family moments, laughter, and adventures from years gone by. Those memories helped create a lasting picture of a friendship that endured despite the pressures surrounding them. But according to Loney, that image may only tell part of the story. The turning point reportedly came in 1996 when Sarah released her memoir, My Story. At the time, both women were facing some of the most difficult periods of their lives. Their marriages had collapsed. The media followed their every move. Their futures within royal circles were uncertain. The book attracted major attention, but it also sparked controversy. According to Loney, Diana was deeply unhappy with certain parts of the memoir and believed some passages failed to show the loyalty she expected from a close friend. And that's where things took a dramatic turn. Rather than bringing them closer together, the memoir allegedly widened an existing divide. According to Loney's account, this wasn't a simple case of two friends drifting apart over time. It was a serious disagreement tied to trust, loyalty, and the consequences of turning private experiences into public stories. If Diana truly felt betrayed by what was written, the issue went far beyond hurt feelings. It became a question of whether deeply personal relationships could survive when private moments were shared with the world. That question feels surprisingly familiar today, doesn't it? Nearly 3 decades later, conversations about royal memoirs, television interviews, and personal revelations continue to dominate headlines. Every time a member of the royal family shares private experiences publicly, the same questions emerge. Who benefits from those disclosures? Who feels exposed by them? And what happens to relationships when personal memories become public property? The reported conflict between Sarah and Diana seems to sit at the heart of that debate. Sarah often spoke about the fun they shared together. One of her favorite stories involved a night out when she, Diana, and several friends dressed as police officers for a party. They thought it would be hilarious. Instead, they ended up being mistaken for actual police and reportedly found themselves in trouble for impersonation. Stories like that helped reinforce the image of two women who shared laughter even during difficult times. But beneath those amusing memories, Loney suggests a much more painful reality may have existed. One of the most striking parts of his argument is the claim that the friendship never fully recovered after the fallout. According to him, although Sarah continued speaking publicly about Diana with warmth and affection after Diana's death, the private relationship had remained fractured. If true, that creates a sharp contrast between public perception and private reality. And that leads to another mystery. How much of what the public knows about famous relationships is actually true? Royal historians often point out that public narratives are carefully shaped over time. Images, interviews, documentaries, and biographies can create powerful impressions. Yet real relationships are often far messier than the polished versions that survive in history books. Friendships can contain tensions, disagreements, and unresolved feelings that never become public knowledge. According to Loney, Sarah and Diana's friendship may be one of those stories. The timing makes the situation even more emotional. Diana died in August 1997, less than a year after the reported falling out. If the friendship truly remained damaged during that final year, There was never an opportunity for the two women to work through their differences. There was no public reconciliation.
No final conversation.
No chance to revisit old disagreements and find closure. And that's where the story becomes especially powerful. Most friendships experience ups and downs. People argue. They reconnect. They forgive. Time often creates opportunities to heal old wounds. But when someone is suddenly gone, those opportunities disappear forever. Any unresolved feelings become frozen in time. The questions remain, but the answers may never come. For Sarah, that possibility carries a particular emotional weight. The friendship was not built on convenience. Long before royal titles and media attention, the two women shared experiences few others could understand. Both entered one of the world's most famous institutions as outsiders. Both faced relentless media scrutiny. Both struggled under the pressure of constant public attention. And both experienced the challenges of trying to maintain a personal identity while living under an extraordinary spotlight. That shared experience created a bond that seemed uniquely strong. According to royal historians, they understood each other's world in a way few people ever could. They were navigating similar struggles at the same time, often feeling isolated within a system that demanded constant composure. That common understanding became the foundation of their friendship, which makes the reported breakdown all the more fascinating. When friendships are built on such deep shared experiences, people naturally assume they can survive almost anything. Yet history shows that even the closest relationships can be tested by misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and competing perspectives. The stronger the bond, the deeper the pain can be when trust is damaged. And perhaps that's why this story continues to capture attention all these years later. It forces people to reconsider a version of royal history that many accepted without question. The popular image of Sarah and Diana as lifelong allies feels comforting. It fits the narrative many people wanted to believe. Two women facing extraordinary challenges together. Two friends supporting each other against the pressures of royal life. But according to Lonai, reality may have been far more complicated. That doesn't erase the closeness they once shared. It doesn't erase the laughter, the memories, or the years of friendship. What it does suggest is that relationships are rarely as simple as they appear from the outside. Public figures face the unique challenge of having their personal lives transformed into public stories. Over time, those stories are simplified, reshaped, and repeated until much of the original complexity disappears. And maybe that's the real lesson hidden inside this story. As Sarah Ferguson enters another chapter of her life, interest in her experiences remains strong. She has lived through royal marriages, divorce, public controversies, financial struggles, and remarkable comebacks. If she ever chooses to tell her story in greater detail, many believe Diana will once again become one of the most discussed parts of that narrative. Because there is still one question that refuses to go away. Who gets to define history when one of the people involved is no longer here to tell their side? That question has followed royal biographies, documentaries, and memoirs for decades. Every new account adds another layer to the story. Former aides share memories. Friends reveal private conversations. Biographers uncover new details. Yet each new version of events can raise as many questions as it answers. And nowhere is that more evident than in the story of Sarah Ferguson and Princess Diana. Some believe the friendship remained broken. Others suspect there may have been room for reconciliation if circumstances had been different. Still others think the truth lies somewhere between those two extremes. The challenge is that only a handful of people truly knew what happened behind closed doors. For now, the unanswered questions remain. Was the friendship permanently damaged, as some accounts suggest? Could time have healed the wounds if Diana had lived longer? Or has the real story remained hidden from public view all along? Those questions continue to fascinate royal watchers around the world. And until new details emerge, the final chapter of one of the monarchy's most talked about friendships may remain one of its greatest unsolved mysteries.